NBA players that their teammates hate. In the NBA, we hear about friendships and relationships built after playing against one another so many times. Respect is given, and stars begin to appreciate other stars in the league. Heck, sometimes they'll talk about potentially playing with each other in the future. There's the Banana Boat Group, and then there's players who just keep to themselves. We've seen players stream video games on Twitch with each other too. However, some players don't have that luxury. They've made themselves distant from their teammates due to poor choices and dumb decisions. Keep watching to see which NBA players are hated by their teammates. Dwight Howard. In 2018, Dwight Howard was just one team away from playing for every team in the Southeast Division. At the time, he was with the Washington Wizards, where he was set to play for his 6th franchise in 8 seasons. We never really see all-stars move from franchise to franchise so quickly. He was asked about his career moves during that Wizards introductory press conference, and his responses were odd. I learned magic for 8 years, went to La La Land, worked a while with Rockets, learned to fly with some Hawks, got stung by the Hornets, and it all taught me how to be a wizard. Instead of being funny, the comment seemed cringeworthy. He was stung by his former team? Okay, Dwight. Howard does have a history of responding to situations with a corny joke. No matter how he performs on the court, he'll smile and say something unique and likely stupid. Howard dodged a question when he was with the Hornets about athletes visiting President Donald Trump's White House by telling reporters that if the Hornets win the title, he'd be willing to visit the Dwight House. Okay, I take everything back. That's funny. There was a time when Dwight Howard was a fan favorite, or maybe he was going to be a fan favorite. In 2007, he lost a slam dunk contest he probably should have won. Then in the next year, he won the dunk contest with his Superman cape. We're not used to seeing big centers with the athleticism that Dwight had. He was creative and physically gifted. He was a unique talent for the league. Now it seems like Howard is one of the least popular players in the NBA. Most fans aren't Howard fans anymore, but it also seems like every NBA player who has ever met Dwight Howard dislikes Dwight Howard. We've seen Dwight get into on-court fights with teammates, former teammates, and opponents. Here's the rundown of some of Dwight's weirdest moments. Dwight started his Magic career from 2004 to 2012, but it ended extremely awkwardly. He literally interrupted his head coach Stan Van Gundy during an interview, where Van Gundy was honest about how Howard wanted him fired. Dwight went and hugged Van Gundy and denied what Van Gundy said to the media. Once Van Gundy was fired, Howard demanded a trade anyway. Then he made sure to point out that Orlando's players were guys no one wanted once he left the team. Once Howard went to the Lakers, he was paired up with Kobe Bryant. Some were extremely excited for this chapter in Howard's career, but it went extremely wrong. Bryant explained why he disliked Howard on the Lakers. He said that Howard seemed uncomfortable around people who were trying to win. Of course, Kobe was always known for being hard to please on the court. Therefore, Dwight chose to leave in free agency just a year after being traded to Los Angeles. He didn't have fun with the Lakers. Dwight's next stop was at the Rockets from 2013 to 2016. He would share a locker room with James Harden. Of course, that situation went just as poorly. Calvin Watkins reported that Dwight's relationship with James Harden was cordially bad, saying that the two players initially attempted to be friends, but that things went downhill. Others even described the two's friendship to be worse than just that. Sports Illustrated's Lee Jenkins reported that incoming Rockets players were advised to pick a side between Harden and Howard. ESPN's Tim McMahon reported that Harden told Rockets management to bench Howard in favor of Clint Capella. Since James Harden was the star of the team, the Rockets obviously took Harden's side. Dwight joined the Atlanta Hawks in 2016 to 2017. The Hawks branded the addition as a homecoming. That didn't go well at all. ESPN's Zach Lowe said that the Hawks were annoyed with Howard giving pep talks before games, then giving little effort on the court. It can't just be the corny jokes, Lowe said with regard to why every team quickly begins to hate Howard. Dwight wasn't appreciated for his time with the Hawks. Some Hawks players reportedly cheered when Howard got traded, including the young point guard Dennis Schroeder, who said Howard played hard only 4 games each year. Then Howard went to the Hornets in 2017 and 2018. Brendan Haywood, an NBA veteran turned analyst, said Charlotte's locker room simply did not like Howard and grew sick and tired of his act. Therefore, Dwight got traded after just 1 season. It's a pattern with Howard. He brings recognition wherever he goes due to his one-star ability, and then shows up in a new place. His teammates hope Howard will be different, but eventually, it's realized that Howard is just Howard, and nothing will change. Some people hate Howard because he insists he's good inside as a big man. He tries to post up and loves to do it, but his ability just isn't great. He wanted the Lakers to play inside out when he was there, in the hopes that they would feed him in the post on non-pick and roll plays. Howard later complained about his role with the Rockets, saying the team should have given him the ball to establish an inside attack, and that Harden was ball dominant. We're in 2020, Dwight. No team runs its offense through post-ups anymore. The NBA is a 3-point league now. Howard would already get a lot of post post touches and would still complain about not getting enough volume. He led the league in them in 2016-2017, per Sport View, and was third in post-up touches in 2017. The biggest problem is that Dwight is bad at scoring out of the post. There are 34 players who got 2 or more post touches per game in 2017. Howard ranked 29th among them in points per possession, according to NBA.com. Meanwhile, Howard ranked 4th in the league in points per possession as a cutter, and has always been very good at the pick and roll. Dwight Howard has so much talent and ability that teams don't mind trying to take a chance on him, until they realize that no other team wants him because he hurts their chances at winning, and also hurts the chemistry that the team is trying to build. That's Dwight Howard. Fans usually love athletes with individuality, but to most fans and teammates, Howard's just annoying. Dwight Howard has become the NBA's hangnail, but it seems like he's enjoying his time currently with LeBron James and the Lakers. LeBron just has a way with people. Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul. In an interview with ESPN, Rajon Rondo called attention to Chris Paul's character, saying, "Everyone wants to believe Chris Paul is a good guy. They don't know he's a horrible teammate. They don't know how he treats people. Look at what he did last year when he was in LA, trying to get to the Clippers locker room. They don't want to believe he's capable of taunting and igniting an incident." Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo got into a fight towards the end of the Lakers vs. Rockets in 2018. With about 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter of a tight game, Brandon Ingram was frustrated and shoved James Harden in the back after being called for a foul in transition. This is when tempers started to flare on both teams. Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul got tangled up, where Rondo put his finger in Paul's face. Then Paul swung back, Rondo retaliated, and the fight took off. I tried to grab him as quickly as possible and tell him, "Don't fall for the trick," Lance Stevenson of all people said after the game. And I guess we fell for it. Both Paul and Rondo ended up with suspensions, but the beef didn't stop there. It's been going on for a decade and will probably continue on forever. "I am not surprised at all," said former NBA great Paul Pierce, who played with both Rondo and Paul during his career. For you people out there who don't know, Rondo and Chris Paul have never liked each other. This dates back to maybe Rondo's rookie year or second year. They've had heated exchanges over the course of their careers. I'm surprised that this is their first fight actually, because throughout Rondo's time in the league, him and Chris Paul have never gotten along. Former teammates Glenn Davis and Ryan Hollins have actually agreed with Rondo's statements. Davis literally called Paul a bad teammate on Instagram, and Hollins said that he has some growing to do. Hollins made sure to praise Rondo as one of his favorite teammates on Twitter. Of course, Rockets owner Daryl Morey had to throw some shade into the pot as well. He added a cryptic tweet, which threw shade at Rondo for walking out on the Mavericks in the 2015 playoffs. It looked as though Rondo spit on Paul during that 2018 brawl. However, he still claims that he didn't spit on Paul. This situation turned into the Spitgate, with the video evidence provided. It sure looks like someone spit. However, some believe it could have been Carmelo Anthony who spit by accident. Rondo insisted that he couldn't spit because he was wearing his mouthpiece at the time. "I had the mouthpiece in my mouth, and I was exasperated because I was about to tell him to get the bleep out of here," Rondo told ESPN. "Look at my body language. My hands on my hips. I turn away for a second. Look at Eric Gordon and Melo in the video. If they saw me spit, they would have turned their face up or something. They had no reaction." Davis and Hollins stood by their bad reviews for Chris Paul as a teammate. These guys hold weight because both players played with Rondo and Paul. Obviously, neither had nice things to say about Chris Paul. Davis spent less than 2 seasons with Paul in Los Angeles, and that was enough for the big man. Hollins told Hoop Hype's Alex Kennedy he has some growing to do. "Everything that glitters ain't gold." Then he even tweeted in support of Rondo, saying, "Hands down one of my favorite teammates ever, 100. However, it seems like active players were keeping to themselves during this incident. LeBron James is known for being very close with Paul, and most athletes sure don't want to get on James's bad side. Former forward Kenyon Martin talked about not trusting Paul on Colin Cowherd's show. Martin said, "People think Paul is a politician. People don't trust politicians. He does things within the locker room that some teammates question. Dealing with management and coaches, people deem it as sneaky. They think he has a hidden agenda that doesn't include the other 14 guys." These comments were before the Rondo-Paul fight took place. Ray Allen. The 2008 Celtics squad has had plenty of tension since the championship days. Ray Allen left the Celtics to sign with the Miami Heat after the 2011-2012 season. This upset many of his former teammates, including Kevin Garnett. Garnett said he lost Allen's phone number once Allen left the Celtics, and he still has hard feelings towards Allen over it. Rajon Rondo, of course, is the other player with beef against Allen. Rondo went as far as saying that Allen wasn't invited to the team's 10-year anniversary celebration of the 2008 championship. Rondo took more shots at Allen. According to former Celtics center Kendrick Perkins, Rondo found out that Allen supported Boston trading Rondo for Chris Paul. Perkins shared the story on SiriusXM NBA radio. He shared, "It was a point in time where Rondo was up there, probably like top 5 point guards in the league. You had Derrick Rose, you had Chris Paul, and then the next person that was coming to mind was Rondo." Perkins continued, "It was brought to the table. What if we trade Rondo and get CP? And KG and Paul Pierce were like, no, we ain't doing that. As great as CP is, we just won the championship. We're rocking with Rondo." Ray was like, "Nah, let's do it." And what happened was Rondo ended up up finding out about it, and that was it from there. It was even to the point we brought boxing gloves to the gym, and we made them box it out. Rondo and Allen remained teammates for a few more seasons even after that, but obviously tension continued, and Rondo was still holding a grudge toward Allen a decade later. Now the story from Perkins all makes sense. While Rondo had plenty of support, he creates many enemies and holds plenty of grudges. Doing this probably isn't the healthiest of ways going about things, but for Rondo, he's developed a strong career in the league and is still viewed as a championship piece to teams in need of a veteran presence. I'm just not sure he'll give veteran leadership, and every team that he lands in the future will need to make sure he's a quality fit to the locker room. It seems like everywhere he goes, there's something wrong. Even if it's not Rondo creating the incident, he's always involved. That's why some teammates just can't stand Rondo, just as much as he can't stand Paul and Allen. I'm sure there's plenty of other names on Rondo's hit list too.